Hi ladies and gentlemen. In this tutorial, I want to show you how to enter your first contact into ACT. So this database I'm working on already has some contacts in it. When you open up ACT, after logging in, chances are pretty good you're going to see a screen similar to this. What I'm going to ask you to do is go over on the left-hand side and click on Contacts. When you do that, you're going to see the screen might have a little bit of a delay, but you will see that these contacts have hopped up on the screen. Now, one of the things about ACT that you might have to adjust to, depending on which browser you're using, is this bar right here in the middle. Now, right here, we have a ton of green space. So I'm going to come down, I'm going to put my pointer on that bar, and I'm going to get a two-headed arrow. Now, what my experience has been, depending on the browser that you use, when I got that two-headed arrow, I clicked and I dragged up. Now, my hope is that typically when I open up this database, and I'm currently using Internet Explorer, that line will stay in the same spot. In other words, I'm not going to have to do that every time. I sort of resize this screen to fit what works for me. But also on that note, when I'm in this screen, this is a trick that is not related to ACT, but this is a trick that is related to your browser. If you look on your keyboard, you have a control key, CTRL. So I'm going to hold that down, and then on my keyboard I also have a plus sign. I'm going to press that once. And I don't know if you saw what just happened, but things got bigger. Now I'm going to press minus, and it went back to the way it was. So I'm going to click plus one more time, and again one more time. Now it got so big, I have to come back to this line and drag it down. The reason I did that is your browser has a zoom feature, not just for ACT, but for all things you look at on the web. The control plus the plus sign, that makes it bigger. So just control and hit plus makes it bigger. Control minus makes it smaller. To get it back to the normal size in most browsers, if you want to get back to where you started, do control 0 to get back to that. So now that I'm back at this, and bear with me, I just noticed I have a little icon here that I want to move out of the way. Once you get back to the screen, you're going to have a contact that you should see each and every time you open up ACT. And that contact is called the My Record. It's all your contact information. You're the owner of the database. In essence, you're the user. So that is called the My Record. And we're going to talk about that more later, but I just want to show you when you first open up ACT, in this particular database, I have 107 contacts, and I'm seeing that number up here. The My Record, or My Contact Info, is number 4 of 107. Now, if I want to do a new contact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the left and press New. And when I do New, up on the screen after a slight flash, I'm going to get a contact with all these fields that are completely blank. So at this point, I'm just going to type in a contact. I'm going to type in Fred Flintstone. Now, I guess I'm giving away my age a little bit. So I'm just going to call it Little Rock Company. And again, I'm just typing this out, and I'm just sort of typing away. Now, I'm not going to fill all this out, but that's all you do to fill in a field. Later on, and in previous tutorials in my sales series course, I talk specifically about this field, the ID status field, and how important it is to use ACT. I'm not going to get into that now. I'm going to ask you to look at the sales course to learn more about that. But having said that, all you do to enter this in is simply put Fred Flintstone in, and you're good. Now, I'm going to come up and I'm going to go Lookup, and I'm going to go All Contacts. Now, when I do that, what I want you to observe is that now I have 108 contacts and Fred Flintstone is there. If I navigate away from him, he's still there. In other words, I did not have to go up and press Save. Now, I don't think it's a bad thing to get in the habit of going up and clicking Save, but just the act of me putting him in there, I didn't have to save anything. He's in there. So now that that contact is in there, All I have to do is go up and click on Lookup, go, let's do the last name, and I'm going to just type in, when this box pops up, this dialog box, I'm going to type in FLI. That should be sufficient. When you have this box up here, there's this little arrow right here, and I'm going to click on this drop down, and I just have a few more options, which I'll discuss later, and I'm going to click OK. Now, it's going to find anyone in my database with the last name that begins with FLI. Now, in this case, there's only one contact right there, Fred Flintstone. If there had been many people, or I shouldn't say many, but more than one, what would have happened is I would have returned this to what's called a list view. And a list view looks like this. So there's really two main views of ACT. There's the list view, and again, try to imagine if I had 10 people with the last name that started with FLI, then I would have seen this view, the list view. But in this case, I'm going to click on Detail View because there was only one. So again, if there's multiple, it will show me the list view. So I can choose the proper one. If there's only one, it gives me this view. You'll get used to that. That's a minor point. But to enter a contact in ACT, that's all you have to do. All you have to do is come up and click on New, type in the information, and you're good to go. If you feel more comfortable, feel free to press Save over here after the fact, and you're ready to go with ACT. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how you enter your first contact in ACT. Thank you so very much. Have a great day.